एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल। और आज का जो हम टॉपिक स्टार्ट करेंगे वो है नीति आयोग पार्ट 2, जहां से हमने छोड़ा था उसके बाद से। Before that, Unacademy UPSC Championship 2.0 has already started. We are providing you with free all India free mock test series under UPSC CSC Prelims 2020 to 21 Paper 1 JS. You will also get a chance to meet with our UPSC CSC 2019 toppers, top Unacademy educators, and Unacademy subscription scholarship also. It was conducted on 30th August, September, 13th September, and 20th September, and tomorrow and 27th September is the last date. So do enroll for this UPSC Championship 2.0. As we know that our exams are scheduled for next month, so if you want to brush up some of your concepts or revise some topics or ask some doubts, then you can start under UPSC CSC 2020 with Unacademy. Now this one subscription has like unlimited benefits that you can learn from your home. You have unlimited access to all courses. We have top educators on one platform. We have full syllabus coverage, double doubt clearing session, live test series. Study material is also provided in the form of PDF. We have answer writing session, and it will be done under our mentor and guidance. This is also a one-stop solution for your complete UPSC CSC preparation. We have structured batches with top educators, batches in Hindi, English bilingual, late night as well as 2-year batches, full syllabus coverage, vast range of optionals, prelims test series with evaluation, main test series with evaluation, and we have dedicated our doubt clearing classes also. And we have a daily current affair practice along with your answer and essay writing practices. We will also provide you with your performance analysis so that you can evaluate your performance, and along with that we will prepare you for your interview also. So this will be a complete package for every UPSC aspirant. Now we have 4 complete batches that are started from 21st September. The first batch is bilingual, in which the medium of instruction is in both Hindi and English. Second is in complete Hindi, and third batch is in complete English. And the last batch we have is UPSC CSC 2022 batch, that is also complete in English. So you can enroll in any of the batch in whichever you're comfortable. We have Ultimate Revision Booster Prelims batch course also, and this Ultimate Revision Booster is for the Prelims 2020 bilingual and English. So it's completely free, and you can enroll in this batch. That is, the duration is from 5th to 30th September 2020. We are providing you with free live classes from Monday to Friday along with all the sectional quizzes. So if you really like our channel, then you can subscribe now and get 10% off, and you just need to apply this code. That is very simple, and you can get subscription in this app over here, and then you'll get 10% off. Now we are also providing you with the daily current affairs test series that is completely free, and it will be given on 7:30 p.m. 20 question 20 minutes, and it will consist of 40 marks, and along with your test analysis in which you will get to know about your correct and incorrect answers. And there's a plus point over there that you will get a percentile with your class and your batchmates also. So this will also be a very important point for every student. If you really like our channel, then you can join on YouTube, Telegram, Facebook, or in whichever social networking site you're active on. So let's start. We have like subordinate office also, like the National Institute of Labor, Economics Research and Development. That is also formerly known as Applied Manpower Research. That is a subordinate office of the Niti Aayog. Now, the institution that has been applied as manpower research was established in 1962 under the Societies Registration Act in 1860, and is an institution that would function as a clearinghouse for all the ideas and undertake all the policy research of human capital development, to inform the various perspective of planning and promote the policy integration. The main objective of the institution is basically to advance the knowledge about the nature, characteristics, utilization of human resources through research and education, training and consultancy, and etc. Now, this has also been renamed as the National Institute of Labor, Economics, Research and Development on 9 June 2014. And this is mainly funded by the grants and aid from the Niti Aayog, that is also formerly known as the Planning Joint. And it is supplemented by its own revenue from contracted research projects, education, and training activities. Now the prime objective of this has been like to develop an institutional framework that is capable of sustaining and steering a systematic applied human resource planning research process. Now since its inception, the institution has actually tried to cover have has been carved out from the trajectory to achieve the academic heights, and in the process and developed a range of academic activities not only for the field of human resource planning and development, but also in monitoring and evaluation of the public policies and programs during the past few years. Now, the institute has also was inhabited by remarkable dynamism in addressing all the issues of national priorities. Now, this institution has also emerged as a pioneering institution that has been provided in the academic training of human resource planning and development for both international and national participants. The institute also moved to their own campus at Narela in 2002, and Narela is a developing urban institutional hub that has been declared as a special economic zone for knowledge in the national capital region. Now let's talk about our planning commission. So basically, our planning commission, as we know, was established in March 1950 by an executive resolution of Government of India, the Union Cabinet, on the recommendation of the Advisory Planning Board that was constituted in 1946 under the chairmanship of KC Nigoi. And thus we can also say that the planning commission was neither a constitutional body nor a statutory body, but in India it was a supreme organ of the planning for social and economic development. And all the functions in planning commission included the following ways: like first, to make an assessment of material capital and human resources of the country, to investigate the possibilities of augmenting them, then to formulate a plan for the most effective balanced utilization of the country's resources. Now, basically, the third point is that they need to determine all the priorities and define the various stages in which the plan should be carried out, to indicate the various factors that actually retarded our economic development, to determine the nature of machinery required for successful implementation of the plan in each stage, to appraise from time to time the progress that has been achieved in execution of the plan, and to recommend the necessary adjustment, to make appropriate recommendation for facilitating the discharge of its duties on the matter that has been referred for advice by the central or state governments. The allocation of business rules has also been assigned in the following matters in the planning commission, like public cooperation in public national development, specific programs for area development that has been notified from time to time, perspective on planning, institution of applied manpower research, unique identification authority, and all the matters that are relating to the national rainfeed area authority earlier. The national informatics center was also under the planning commission. Now later it was brought under the Ministry of Information and Technology, but it should also be noted that a planning commission was only a staff agency and advisory body and not executive responsibility. It was not responsible for taking and implementing decisions, so this responsibility was rested upon the various state and central governments. Now let's talk about the composition. Now the Prime Minister of India was the chairman of commission, and he presided over the meetings of commission. And the commission had a deputy chairman. He was also the de facto executive head, a full-time functional head of the commission. He was responsible for all the formulation and submission of the draft of five-year plan to the central cabinet. He was also appointed to central cabinet for a fixed tenure that was enjoyed the rank of the cabinet minister. Though he was not the member of a cabinet, but he was invited to attend all the meetings without a right to vote. Now, some of the central ministers were also appointed as a part-time members of the commission. So, in case of finance minister, the planning minister were also the ex officio by virtue of the members of the commission. Now, the commission had like 4 to 7 full-time expert members, and they enjoyed the rank of minister of the state. Now, the commission had a member secretary, and he was usually a senior member of Indian Administrative Service, and the state governments were not representation was not representative in the commission in any way, because the planning commission was wholly a center constituted body. Now, the internal organization of the planning commission like had three organs: technical division, housekeeping branches, program advisors. Now, technical division basically were the major functional units of the planning commission, and they were concerned with the formulation, plan monitoring, and plan execution. So these fell under the two broad category, like the general division that was concerned with the entire aspect of the economy, and the subdivision that was concerned with the specific fields of development. Now let's talk about the housekeeping branches. Now the housekeeping branches like had the five branches, like the general administrative branch, establishment branch, vigilance, accounts, and personal training branches also. Now the program advisory was the third branch under this. So the post of the program advisors were created by the planning commission in 1952 to act as a link between the planning commission and the states of Indian Union in the field of planning. Now the job of the person was basically the internal organization of the planning commission like had a dual hierarchy, and the administrative and the technical. Now the administrative hierarchy was basically headed by the secretary of this, and the planning commission was assisted by a joint secretaries, deputy secretaries, under secretaries, and other administrative and clerical staff. Now these functionaries were drawn from the Indian Administrative Service, Indian Revenue Service, Central Secretariat Service, Indian Audit, Account Service, and other non-technical, basically central services also. Now, the technical hierarchy, on the other hand, was basically headed by the advisor, who was also assisted by chiefs, directors, joint directors, and other staff technical. These functionaries were also drawn from the Indian Economic Service and the Indian Statistics Service and Central Engineering Service and other central technical services. Now, the advisor was the head of the technical division, and he enjoyed the rank of either an additional secretary or a joint secretary. And the program for evaluation organization was basically was established in 1952 as an independent unit of the planning commission that is now known as the Niti Aayog. However, like all its functions under the general guidance and the direction of planning commission are known as Niti Aayog. Now the PEO, that is the program evaluation organization, is headed by a director of chief, who is assisted by the joint directors, deputy directors, assistant directors, and other staff. And this program evaluation organization is basically established in seven regional offices in Chennai, Hyderabad, Mumbai, Lucknow, Chandigarh, Jaipur, and Kolkata. Now, the each regional offices evaluation office of the PA is basically headed by a deputy director, and they undertake an assessment of implementation of the development program plan that is contained in all the 5-year programs plan that has been provided from time to time, basic on the and the feedback to the planning commission, now the Niti Aayog, for the executive agencies. Now it also provides a technical advice to the state evaluation and organizations. On February 23 2015, it was reported that the PEO was expected to undergo a major revamp under the Niti Aayog, as the government will soon move the cabinet known by proposing sweeping changes in the structure and functions of program evaluation organization. Now let's talk about the critical evaluation. Now we can see that the planning commission was originally established by a staff agency based on its advisory role, but in the course of time it has also emerged to be a very powerful and directive authority also. So this was also a plus point of the planning commission, wherein by basically the recommendation were considered both by the union and state. And the critics have described this as a super cabinet, an economic cabinet, a parallel cabinet, a fifth wheel coach, and so on has been used to describe the planning commission. Now, some of the following observations are made by the domineering role that has been played by the planning commission. Now, the Administrative Reform Commission, that was known as the ARC of India, has observed that under the constitution, the ministers, whether in the states or the center, are in fact of ultimate executive authority, but unfortunately the planning commission has in some measure earned the reputation being a parallel cabinet and sometimes known as a super cabinet. Dr. Gadgil also said, who was a former deputy chairman of the Planning Commission, also criticized the role of Planning Commission and concluded that it has failed in a lot of tasks. And he said that the root failure basically lies in the process on which the Planning Commission was essentially actually known as an advisory body and has come to mix itself with the actual process of the formation of public policies, even in matters other than of development. So this misdirection has also held largely by the membership of Prime Minister and the Finance Minister in the Planning Commission, which also appears to be vested that the Planning Commission and its decision with an unnatural kind of prestige and importance. Now let's talk about Ashok Chanda. So he is a eminent. This eminent administrative analyst said that the undefined position of commission and its wide terms of reference has actually gradually led to the growth of economic cabinet, and not merely for the union but also for the states. He also continued that the commission has actually seized upon this position and extended the scope of its activities to embrace the functions and responsibilities which were both traditionally or otherwise that belong to the constituted government. He further also observed that the position of the preeminence according to the planning commission is also inconsistent with the conception of a cabinet form of the government. Now, K. Santhanam, the eminent constitutional expert, also stated that the Planning Commission has actually superseded the federation and a country like functioning like a unitary system in many aspects. And the PV Rajamannar report, the PV Rajamannar has also said that the chairman of the Fourth Finance Commission has also highlighted the overlapping of functions and responsibilities between the Planning Commission and Financial Commission in the federal fiscal transfers. Even PP Agarwal observed that though the Planning Commission is an advisory organ of the government, it has also come to exercise the significant influence over the formation of the public policies in the matters other than the development, and all its advisory role in the way that has extends over the entire administration. Now, the estimates committee has also said that the committee has been has said that from time to time has also come when a review of entire position regarding the formal association of cabinet minister of the central government with the planning commission should be made. Now let's talk about the abolition of NDC. So NDC is basically the National Development Council. So on the 1st February of 2016, it was reported that the Modi government is also going to abolish the National Development Council and transfer all its powers to the Governing Council of Niti Aayog. But however, till August 2016, such resolution has not been passed. It must be noted that the last meeting of 57 of the NDC was held in December and 2012 to approve the 12th plan from 2012 to 2017. Now, the National Development Council was basically established in August 1952 by an executive resolution of the Government of India on the recommendation of the first 5 year plan, a draft outline like the Planning Commission. It is neither a constitutional body nor a statutory body. Now, the composition of NDC is basically the Prime Minister of India as the chairman and head, all the Union Cabinet ministers since 1967, the Chief Minister of the states, the Chief Ministers or administratives of the Union territories, the members of Planning Commission that are now known as the Niti Aayog, the Secretary of Planning Commission to the NDDC, and the NDDC will also provide with the administrative as well as assistant to the work by planning commission that is known as Niti Aayog. Now, what are the objectives? So the objectives are basically to secure the cooperation of states in the execution of plan, to strengthen and mobilize the efforts and resources of the nation in support of the plan, to promote the economic policies in all the vital spheres, then to ensure the balance and rapid development of all the parts of country. Now, what are the functions over here? Basically, we need to realize the objectives are First, to prescribe guidelines for preparation of national plan. Second, to consider the national plan as prepared by the National Commission, now known as Niti Aayog. Third, to make an assessment of resources that are required for implementing the plan and to suggest its member for augmenting them. Then, to consider the important questions of social and economic policy that are affecting the national development. Then, to review the working of the national plan from time to time. Then, to recommend the measures for achievements of all the aims and targets that has been set out by the national plan. Now, the draft of 5-year plan that was prepared by Planning Commission was first submitted to the Union Cabinet, and after its approval, it is placed before the NDC for its acceptance. Then the plan is presented to the Parliament. With its approval, it emerges as the official plan and published in the official, and therefore all the NDDC is the highest body below the parliament. It is also responsible for all the policy matters that are regard to the planning and economic and social development. However, we can also see it is also listed under the advisory body to the planning commission, and it can also make the recommendation that are not binding, but it makes recommendation to the central and state government and should meet at least twice a year. Now let's talk about the critical evaluation over here. So the first and foremost function of NDDC was to build a bridge of link between the central and the state governments and the planning commission, now the Niti Aayog, especially in the field of planning, and to bring the coordination of all the policies and programs of plans. It has been to a large extent seen that it was successful, but beside it also served as a forum for center and state deliberation in the matters of all the national importance or the device of sharing responsibilities between the federal political system. However, we can also see there are two diametrical opposite views that have been expressed on its working. First, that it has been described as a super cabinet due to its wide and powerful composition, though its recommendations are just advisory and not binding, but it can be hardly be ignored as they are backed by a national mandate. On the other hand, we can see that it was described as mere rubber stamp by the policy decision have already been taken under union government. So this is mainly due to the Congress party rule that both the center and states for a long period of time. However, we can see due to the emergence of all the regional parties in various states, NDDC is now steadily acquiring its federal character, and therefore it is providing a greater opportunity to say for the states in preparation of all the national plans. Now, the following observations have been made by the eminent people on the working of NDC. Miss M. Brecher, the biographer of Nehru, actually remarked that the NDC was established as a supreme administrative and advisory body on planning because it laid down all the policies, directives, invariable that has been approved by the cabinet. Since their inception, the NDC and its standing committee has actually virtually relegated the planning commission to the status of the research arm. Now let's talk about the H.M. Patel. So basically, the former finance minister observed that among the advisory bodies of the planning commission that has been included the NDC. This is surely inaccurate and is clear from the composition that the NDC is also a body obviously that is superior to the planning commission, and it is indeed a policy making body that and its recommendation cannot be and regarded as the policy decision because they are merely just advisory suggestion. Now let's talk about the K.M. Santhanam. Basically, this eminent constitutional expert actually stated that the position of NDC has come to be approximate to the super cabinet of entire Indian Federation, a cabinet that is functioning on government of India and all the governments of the state. Now let's talk about AP Jain. He is the ex-food minister that commented also that the NDC encroaches upon the function that are constitutionally belong to the Council of Ministers at the central and state levels, and sometimes it approves to the raise the targets without a prior consultation with the minister that is concerned. Now the NDC is neither by a law nor by a nature of the composition of its composition, but it is a body competent to take decision on the issues of at the various national level. It is also basically suited to talk, debate, and advise. But it also must leave the decision to cabinet and the central states. So basically, I've covered everything in this topic. So if you really like my video, you can like, subscribe, and share.